If you want to connect a DJI Mic Mini to your new Insta360 X5, you have three different options. The simplest version, like this, using Bluetooth. You can use the DJI Mic Mini receiver plugged in using the mic adapter. And a new feature on the X5, you can directly plug the receiver into its USB port. Now, which of the three will give you the best audio quality and what are the pros and cons of each? Well, let's find out. One of the new features introduced with the Insta360 X5 is the ability to connect a compatible microphone or wireless microphone receiver directly to the USB port of the camera. In all previous versions, you had to have one of these, a mic adapter. So the question is, do I even need a mic adapter anymore? And of course, just like previous versions, the X5 also supports Bluetooth microphones, so then the question is, do I need either? Well, having finally received my X5 mic adapter, it's time to do some testing to find out. So today we're going to check out all three connection types. We'll look at the pros and cons of each, and of course we'll do some testing to figure out which one gives you the best results and which one is the right choice for you. So that means there's a lot to cover, so as usual I'll place the chapters up here and on the video timeline, but first this. Before we continue with today's video, a quick disclaimer. This video is not sponsored, paid for, or influenced in any way. I purchased all of the equipment with my own money and the opinions are entirely my own. Now, I do include links to the featured products as well as my recording equipment. These may appear throughout the video and in the video description. If you purchase using these links, I may make a commission and this is what helps fund the channel, but rest assured there is no price disadvantage to you. You are getting the best price I can find. Alternatively, if you want to support the channel, you could follow this link and buy me a coffee. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, please remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel for a lot more similar content. So back to the video. Okay, let's go through the connection process for the DJI Mic Mini using Bluetooth. So in order to connect, I'm going to head into my menu, scroll over, and here we'll find Bluetooth. There are two options to add a Bluetooth remote, or what we are doing today, a Bluetooth headset or microphone. Now before I tap on that and start the search, first I'm going to place my Mic Mini transmitter into its pairing mode. And in order to do that, I'm going to press and hold the pairing button until it starts flashing alternating blue and green. Then I'm going to tap on the Bluetooth headset. It begins the search. And you can see after a few seconds it finds my DJI Mic Mini. I tap on this one and you can see it is now connected. The light on the Mic Mini transmitter has turned solid blue. And if I head out to my main preview screen, you can see there is an AirPods icon at the top right. And also you can see the audio level meter at the top of the screen, which is another indicator that I have an external microphone connected. As far as settings are concerned, if I head back over to that same page in my menu, you'll see below Bluetooth is audio settings. If I tap on audio settings, the first thing you'll notice whenever you have a Bluetooth microphone connected, you have the option of using dual track audio. I made an entire video about dual track audio, so be sure to check that video out if you want the full details. Otherwise, if we scroll down, you'll see that you have the option to enable gain adjustment. And if you tap on Bluetooth headphones, you'll see that you can change the gain adjustment from +6 dB to -18 dB. For the Mic Mini, I do find that the audio level is pretty low, so I'm going to change it to +6 dB for the DJI Mic Mini. So now these two are paired. They will remain paired. If I power off the Mic Mini transmitter, you'll see that the message pops up that the Bluetooth microphone has now been disconnected. and the X5 will now use its onboard microphones. If I power the transmitter back on, you'll see it very quickly reconnects. However, that reconnection is not quite as fast. If I power off the camera, you'll see on the Mic Mini transmitter that the blue light is now flashing because it has lost its connection. And when I power the camera back on, they will automatically reconnect, but as is typical with Insta360 cameras, this takes a long time. And as you see, eventually we are reconnected. Now, unfortunately, that very long connection time means that if you like to use the quick capture mode, when you hit the record button, the camera powers on and immediately begins the recording. But of course, it is now using the onboard microphones of the X5. Now, there is something new here about the X5 compared to previous versions, in that the Bluetooth microphone will eventually reconnect. And now that it is reconnected, as you can see, it has connected the Mic Mini transmitter and it is being used on the recording. So unlike previous versions, basically you can use the Mic Mini together with quick capture, but you have to keep in mind that the first 40 seconds or so of your video will have a soundtrack from the onboard microphones, and only after that time will you have the soundtrack from your Mic Mini. Now, the advantages of the Bluetooth connection: first of all, it is very simple. You simply power on the devices and wait for them to connect. And secondly, and probably more importantly, because it is a completely wireless connection, there is nothing to connect to your X5, so it remains completely rugged, waterproof, and weatherproof. When it comes to the disadvantages, firstly, of the 3 ways to connect the Mic Mini, this one generally gives you the worst audio quality, as well as a very limited range, and it is particularly sensitive to obstructions. But I guess we will test all that out later on. So let's take a look at how to configure our Mic Mini using the mic adapter. So I have a Mic Mini transmitter, I have the Mic Mini receiver, I have a 3.5mm audio cable, and of course I have the mic adapter. Now, the first thing we need to do is, on the X5, we need to open and remove the USB cover. In order to do that, I'm going to slide down and open it to about a 45-degree angle, and then simply pull it away from the camera. Here you can see the design of the clip on the cover, which fits onto the metal bar at the top of the opening. The way to reinsert it is, again, put it in at about a 45-degree angle below the bar and simply push up to reconnect it. Having removed the USB cover, we can now insert the mic adapter. Simply press it into place, and once the mic adapter is in place, we can plug in our 3.5mm cable, plug the other end into the red port on the Mic Mini receiver, and now we are connected. If I power on the camera, you will immediately see the microphone icon and also the audio level bar at the top of the screen. Now, one thing we still have to do is secure the receiver somewhere and also make sure it stays out of the picture. Now, with previous versions, there are a number of brackets and cages available which allow you to mount the Mic Mini and other receivers to hold them securely and keep them in the stitch line of the camera and out of the shot. With the X5 being very new, these brackets are not yet available, but I'm sure they will be available shortly. Alternatively, we can run a longer cable down the selfie stick or mount and place the receiver in an alternative location. As far as the advantages of using the mic adapter are concerned, firstly, this configuration should give you better audio quality, range, and stability than by using Bluetooth. But again, that's something we'll see later. Another advantage is that when configured in this way, the receiver can actually be set to power on and off with the camera. If I now power off the camera, you'll notice that the receiver also turns off automatically. When I power it back on again, the receiver powers back on and is immediately ready for use. That also means that this configuration is fully compatible with the quick capture mode. If I power on the camera using the record button, it will power on, start quick capture, and will immediately be using the Mic Mini. Keep in mind when using the auto power off function that the transmitter will power off after a certain amount of time being disconnected, so you may need to power that on manually. As far as disadvantages are concerned, when using the mic adapter, obviously you have quite a complex and perhaps even somewhat fragile configuration. And in this configuration, the camera is no longer waterproof or even weatherproof. When it comes to using the direct USB connection, you have a couple of options. You can either use the USB-C adapter that comes with the receiver, or you can use a standard USB-C cable. Let's start out by looking at the USB-C adapter option. So we're going to remove the cover on the receiver and replace it with the USB-C adapter. Then on the camera, we are going to open the USB cover, and you can plug the receiver directly into the camera. You can remove the cover if you want to, but it's not necessary in order to fit it. Now, this configuration has the advantage that it also holds the receiver firmly in place. But you should also note that in this configuration, the sides of the receiver stick out beyond the stitch line, and you will see these in your image. Alternatively, you can plug the USB cable into the receiver and connect the cable to the camera, and again, removing the USB cover is optional. Just as we saw with the mic adapter configuration, here too you will need to secure the receiver and also ensure that it does not appear in the image. As far as the advantages of this configuration are concerned, this should provide audio quality, range, and stability at least as good as the mic adapter configuration, while being slightly less complex. The disadvantages: similar to the mic adapter configuration, it is more complex than the Bluetooth option, and once again, when configured like this, your camera is no longer waterproof or weatherproof. However, when used with a USB cable, you can also combine it with this, the all-weather USB charging cover, which provides you with a weatherproof connection, so now you just have to find a safe and weatherproof location for the receiver. And note also that the USB direct connection does support the quick capture mode. When using the record button to power on the camera, it begins recording, and it also does so using the DJI Mic Mini. However, unlike the mic adapter configuration, when the camera is powered off, the Mic Mini receiver remains powered on and will not power off and on automatically with the camera. Okay, let's start out our testing indoors, and just for reference purposes, I'm starting out using the onboard microphones of the X5. I find in most situations, as long as you stay pretty close to the camera, the onboard microphones do a pretty decent job. So let's now switch over to the first Mic Mini configuration, which will be the Bluetooth setup. Okay, and now I am using the DJI Mic Mini connected directly to the X5 using Bluetooth. Now, typically I'm not a big fan of the Bluetooth connection. I find that it makes the audio sound a little bit like talking on a phone, but what do you think? How is the audio quality of the DJI Mic Mini connected to the X5 by using Bluetooth? Okay, now I have switched over to using the mic adapter. So I have my Mic Mini transmitter connected to the Mic Mini receiver, which is plugged in using the 3.5mm analog cable to the mic adapter. So how is the audio quality? Does it sound better than the Bluetooth configuration? What do you think? And finally, now I am using the USB direct connection. So I have my Mic Mini transmitter connected to the Mic Mini receiver, which is plugged directly into the USB port of the X5. This should be as good, possibly better than using the mic adapter. But what do you think? How is the audio quality of the Mic Mini now plugged directly into the USB port of the X5? Okay, and now let's continue outside, once again starting out using the onboard microphones of the X5. Again, as long as you stay pretty close to the camera, I find they do a pretty good job. But of course, as soon as you start to move away from the camera, as soon as you start to turn away from the camera, that's when you really need a wireless microphone. So let's switch over to the Mic Mini, starting with the Bluetooth configuration. So I have now switched over to the Mic Mini. We are connected wirelessly and directly using Bluetooth to the X5. How is the audio quality now outdoors using the Bluetooth connection? Now at this short distance, I would not expect there to be any issues with obstructions. If I were to turn away, turn my back to the camera, you should be able to hear me okay without any signal interruptions. Okay, now I have switched over to using the mic adapter. So we have the Mic Mini transmitter connecting to the receiver, which is plugged in using the 3.5mm analog cable to the mic adapter. So how is the audio quality when using the mic adapter? I assume it sounds better than the Bluetooth, but what do you think? Here too, obviously I don't expect there to be any obstruction issues. If I turn around, turn my back to the camera, you should have no problem hearing me okay, or are you noticing any signal interruptions? And finally, now using the USB direct connection. So once again, I have the transmitter connected to the Mic Mini receiver, which is now plugged in directly through the USB port of the X5. How is the audio quality? How does it compare to when using the mic adapter? Similarly, at very short distance, I don't expect there to be any obstruction issues. I should be able to turn my back to the camera, and you should have no problem continuing to hear my voice without any interruptions. That may change, however, if we get a little bit further away from the camera, so let's do some distance and stability testing. Okay, now I'm around about 50 feet away from the camera. Currently, I'm using the Bluetooth connection. How is the audio quality at 50 feet? The connection should be fine as long as I maintain line of sight to the camera. That may change, however, when I turn around and turn my back to the camera. Are you noticing any signal dropouts? Are you able to hear my voice without any interruptions? And now at 50 feet using the mic adapter, how is the audio quality when using the mic adapter at this distance? Also, let's do our obstruction test. What happens if I turn my back to the camera? Are you able to hear me okay? Are you noticing any signal interruptions? And now at 50 feet using the USB direct connection. So again, I have the Mic Mini transmitter connected to the receiver wirelessly, which is plugged in directly to the USB port of the X5. How is the audio quality at this distance? How does it compare to the mic adapter connection? Let's also do our obstruction test. If I turn around, turn my back to the camera, how is the sound of my voice? Are you still able to hear me without any signal interruptions? So now I am at about 100 feet away from the camera. Hopefully you can still hear me okay. I'm currently using the Mic Mini connected using Bluetooth. Now in past tests I've done, the Bluetooth connection seems to do fine even at this distance, but only as long as I maintain line of sight to the camera. As soon as I turn around, turn my back to the camera, you probably notice some signal interruptions. You probably get some signal dropouts and lose my voice. And now at 100 feet using the mic adapter. So how does the audio quality compare to using the Bluetooth? Also, let's do our obstruction test. What happens if I turn around, turn my back to the camera? Are you able to still hear me okay? Are you noticing any signal interruptions? And finally, let's do 100 feet using the direct USB connection. So once again, I have the Mic Mini connected wirelessly to the Mic Mini receiver, which is plugged directly into the USB port of the X5. How is the audio quality at this range and how does it compare to using the mic adapter? Let's once again do our obstruction test. If I turn around, turn my back to the camera, are you noticing any signal interruptions? Are you able to hear me clearly? So with the X5's new capability of direct USB audio connection, do you still need a mic adapter? And I would say no, you don't. I thought that in all tests, the direct USB connection sounded as good and possibly even slightly better than using the mic adapter, and the range and stability were equivalent. The one and only advantage of using the mic adapter is that with certain microphone systems, including the DJI Mic Mini, it can be set up to power the receiver on and off with the camera and save battery life in the receiver. But given the long battery life of the DJI receivers, I don't see that being a major issue. As far as the Bluetooth microphone is concerned, it would be great if the Bluetooth microphone provided the same audio quality, range and stability as the other two options. That way it would be much simpler to set up, and of course the camera would remain rugged, waterproof and weatherproof. I thought for Bluetooth the range and stability were actually not that bad, but the bigger problem of course is that the audio quality is just not good at any range. So that wraps it up for another video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for a lot more similar content. If you have any questions, any comments, if you want to share your experience or make suggestions for future videos, please drop those into the comments section. Otherwise, thanks again for watching.